What is going on, YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. And guys, we have an absolute banger for you guys here today in this one. Our first look here at the Incomparable. It's inconceivable how big these guns are. 508 millimeter absolute nuke launchers here.
It's inconceivable. Inconceivable.
Inconceivable! You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
On this hypothetical British battlecruiser. Now, of course, she never existed in real life, but oh, do I want her to. These guns sound absolutely incredible here. But guys, we have our first look video here. If you watched the stream last night, well, things didn't quite go according to plan, but that is update day. We did play a few games after, and of course, as soon as I end the stream, we get a pretty good one here. But I think this ship is going to be a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of them out on the seas already. So we'll give you guys a little bit of the rundown, the play style, the commander and build and all that good stuff. The commander, the specs and all that, as I mentioned, are at the end of the video. I do want to talk a bit about the strategy portion because the ship is a mixed bag, right? It's a British battlecruiser. However, you do have 25 millimeter front plating and a massive, not a massive, but a rather large citadel and not that much health. Comparatively. So you do want to play on the flanks, trying, to get the edge and utilizing your speed and engine boost capabilities there. So while the end result of this game here was pretty good, I do have to say there is absolutely nothing more annoying than having a ship like our fellow Temeraire here who was spamming the comms wheel the entire time. And I know sometimes it seems like you're not sure what your teammates are doing, but as you guys will see, our team takes the update day approach here and all decides to group up in one square, which is just never a good strategy. But this position here is almost a perfect position, and you guys will see why in just a moment. As you can see, there is a Castilla, a Hindenburg, there's I think the Yamato back there, and two Incomparables, as well as a destroyer in this cap. There are 6 ships on this flank, and if we were to YOLO rush or be in the forward-facing position here, yeah, we wouldn't really survive. And here is our first hit of the game. A 25-ish, our first massive hit rather. I think we touched the Hindenburg with a penetration there. But just given the penetration values of a single hit there being 5 to 6K, yeah, you are just going to do some absolutely massive chunk damage. However, you don't want to get chunked in return, and that is why we are taking the defensive position out here. And we did manage to get a nice salvo on that Incomparable, and there is another 30K-ish salvo. So within the first minutes here, 11 gun hits total, with one of those being a Citadel, nearly 60K. So yes, if you can find yourself in a somewhat flanked position with potential island cover and ships that are not really paying attention to you, yeah, this thing is absolutely going to flourish. Now with that being said, there were some games on stream that I got the 6-gun syndrome. And of course, by only having 6 rifles total, 3 turrets of 2 guns there, you are going to notice when you don't get the most accurate salvos, or if anyone is running somewhat of an anti-dispersion build, yeah, those shells are going to go all over the place. And despite us getting a 50% shell hit rate there on that Hindenburg, and unfortunately not getting the kill, there are going to be different salvos throughout this game and throughout your time playing this ship that it just feels not that accurate. Despite it having, I believe, a 2.1 Sigma, anytime you have a limited number of shells leaving the barrels there, it's going to just give you that, hint of questioning the accuracy or the overall effectiveness. Now you couple that with the 10-kilometer torpedoes, as unfortunately we missed that salvo, which would have given us the kill on that Hindenburg. And keep in mind, because that kill will come back important later, as the motto shows us why you don't want to sail broadside in an Incomparable while dev striking him. Now, you do get the choice of 4 consumables, which we will go over, and you guys can see we are actually running the plane, and you may be wondering why. Well, we were running an Arthas build here, sort of full damage, as I mentioned. I wanted to get the maximum potential in here. I thought I was going to get it, maybe just a touch high, but 4 full penetrations there with 1 overpen for about 35,000 damage. You couple that with a 22 to 24 second reload, and again, the damage output potential, the Alpha Strike on this ship is just simply insane. Now do realize by running the plane we are limiting some of your capabilities. As you can see, there is a Hayate with our Velos over here, and a huge shout out to our Velos for not just going in and dying right away. Despite his aggressive position, he did manage to recover from that, and now we are able to sort of get this flank with his support. You will also notice the enemy Hayate did move over to Bravo, and despite our team all being within 2 to 3 squares, we are trying to maintain this flank while utilizing island cover. Now, if the situation did call for it, the engine boost and sonar would have been a much better combination to have, meaning we could have pushed in here with this Velos, sonaring the Hayate and utilizing our torpedoes on other appropriate targets. But with that elimination there, we have pretty much cleaned up this flank. You can see that the Castillo has repositioned here. The other destroyer is now in Bravo. So we're going to go ahead and work our way into this cap, pushing up the flank and trying to support this Velos while simultaneously, if we are able to, get in this cap and get ourselves a little bit of XP. And this is the point in the game where I go away from party chat and let our team know that
if you guys spread out, we'd have better spots, angles.
And I'm not exactly sure how the recording captured my audio here, but sometimes you do have to let your team know. And if you let them know in maybe not the most sarcastic way, as I was super just tired at this point, they will sometimes catch up. But considering it was update day, yeah, it's just not going to happen. And despite maybe not the absolute best RNG in this game, we are less than halfway into this one, and we have already crossed the 100K mark. And we're going to get ourselves a little bit more. Now, something to keep in mind here with this ship is you have arguably, I think, the slowest shell velocity in the game, which makes sense. You are basically shooting what amounts to a Ford F-150 through these barrels. So you're going to want to keep that in mind when aiming. I have noticed a few salvos maybe have been a touch behind or not exactly where I wanted them to go due to that. So again, it's something you're going to want to just get used to or be aware of when you are playing this ship. Now, in terms of strategy here, I just wanted to go out and get this kill on this Yamato. It seemed like he was sailing broadside and maybe not 100% aware of angles, so I just wanted to go out here and get a little bit of memes. However, looking at my team's position, even if I would have charged in, we would have given up angle to this Yamato, so it's probably best, you know, in terms of just full strategy, to go out here and take care of this and then utilize our speed and get back into position. It's hard sometimes to give you guys the perfect strategy execution when playing some of these games, especially on update day, because given just how obnoxious some of the play is, yeah, it's nearly impossible. But there's a beautiful example of just what the ship is capable of. 30 to 45K there on a slightly angled Yamato, overmatching his front cheek there and getting ourselves a nice citadel, potentially high on that shot. But again, I just find it more often than not, shells just go low. So I'd rather run the risk of getting multiple penetrations there and the odd citadel than missing altogether and all of the shells landing in the water. Now here, I make a little bit of a mistake. I come around this corner slightly angled as I wanted to get my torpedoes off. I didn't think he was going to come around as broadside as he was, but it doesn't matter. We get the shell off there, the front gun. One right into his side, and he is now toast. So, but with that elimination, we're sitting at a beautiful 172 with assist and cap, only 3 citadels. So imagine if we get maybe a little bit closer, maybe a little bit earlier, or more favorable RNG. Again, it's going to come, it's going to go. You're going to get the dice rolls every now and then, despite not feeling that way on stream. It's how the cookie crumbles most of the time. However, if people were to get the RNG that I got, I probably need to sell more crates. So you guys go out there and use code AARON and buy up all the crates so Wargaming gives me my good CC RNG back. And real quick here, I just want to highlight the importance of having a decent destroyer player and knowing your role. we did manage to get the elimination on the enemy destroyer, and our Velos is still alive. And with the elimination of that Yamato there, we now have full control of this game. So basically, at this point, we've done our job. Now, we didn't really attract that much damage. We put our ship in a decent spot, and our team all decided to group up in one square. So nobody really chased after us, and despite maybe a slight mistake from that Yamato, we've played nearly a perfect game here, and with that hit on the Des Moines, we now have our beautiful high caliber medal. So like I said, despite doing everything that this ship, battleships and battlecruisers really require, we have put our ship in a decent position, and now we can reap the rewards of that. Far too often I see people trying to hunt damage early game or just abandon their flank or do something stupid, and they end up doing so poorly. And if they would just play with a strategy mindset, you know, like, oh, let me try and get this objective or hold this cap or whatever, they would end up doing better because the game would be more in control. Now, sometimes the game's just going to go to shit. That's just that's just Legends in a nutshell for you. But if you hold your flank, you try and get the capture point, usually you end up with a decent game like this, and now we can basically just damage farm. But here is also a great example of that really slow shell travel time. To this Des Moines here who is backing up, we have like a 10 seconds, 11 second shell travel time. And any moves that this guy makes in these 10 seconds here, as you can see, he started to go forward. We predicted he was backing up, and those 2 or 3 salvos almost missed entirely. So you definitely don't want to be playing this thing at max range, despite with this particular build us having about 20 kilometers worth of range. And here is that RNG that we were talking about. Now, we don't have our plane. This would have been a perfect salvo. They look pretty flat. They're, you know, we aimed close to waterline. They're going somewhat where we aimed, and they sort of just end up flying all over the place. A few go high, a few go low. We do get some decent chunks there, and that is always going to be the advantage of this ship. However, I did see someone in chat, or I don't know if they were trolling, but they're like, why is he shooting HE in this boat? And we haven't really had the opportunity to, because we've had broadside most of the game. But guys, this thing has insane HE on top of incredible AP. So if you are not, you know, if you're just trying to get over pens or the occasional pen on plunging fire with AP, you're going to potentially minimize your damage output by not utilizing the absolute nuclear HE that this thing has. Now, we were running John Fisher here. However, I have heard, and thinking about it, Big Nelson or Nelson with Big 7 is probably going to be a pretty good little build here, because you do actually decrease your AP penetration. But all things considered, I haven't seen as many overpins as I would have thought this thing would have had, and I think it's partly due to the shell drag here. But here is just a good little lesson on angles, spotting, and all that. We see that the Des Moines hasn't been spotted for a little bit. The Bravo cap does start to go captured. And with that little left miss there, we almost blind fired that Des Moines without any previous knowledge of where he might have been, right? But we know that he had to come from that, what is that? South side there, and he was starting to get the cap, and based on just predictive guessing, we went ahead, and knowing that we were spotted outside of that smoke, I probably could have put that shot a bit left there. And here was something a little, what did we bounce on right there? Was it the turret face? Because there's no part of the Des Moines other than like maybe the Bure Citadel bell, but we hit really high. But anyway, here he is YOLOing in, and we're going to go ahead and get this little cleanup here. And yeah, so if we would have gotten potentially one more of those kills, this would have been a nice little 5-kill, 219,000 damage Kraken. But as it stands, it's only 4 and 219 or whatever I said. But a pretty good little game here, especially considering we weren't getting many favorable situations on stream, as you guys probably saw. But I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun with this ship when she cooperates. That being said, it's not 10 times better than Yamato. It's not OP. I think they did a decent job of balancing it. I don't know, I'm waiting for the 8-gun Incomparable, Inconceivable, is that what we'll call it? But here is the finish to your game here. We see the plane to the left. We're going to go ahead and take that little kill shot. And yeah, that's going to do it for this one. So we'll go ahead and catch you guys at the stats screen. But a nice little finish here, 3,100 XP, I believe. So a pretty decent game, all things considered. And a good little showcasing of this beautiful British ship there. So that's all she wrote for that one. I love you guys. I'll see you in just a second. But here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the Incomparable, the British monstrosity. Now, she's actually a beautiful looking ship, and a huge shout out to Wargaming for this beautiful port here. But yeah, those guns do look a little... are we compensating for something, Wargaming and the Brits? But yeah, John Fisher there is our commander. I do go over a deep dive here, but guys, I actually don't quite have time to do a full voiceover for all of the specs, stats, and modifications I have to. I'm employed, unfortunately. So yeah, you guys didn't wail enough. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, those are our modifications. We're going to go over our consumables, the specs. The ship is like 70,000 base HP, but with our build, I think it's reduced a little bit. And we do go over a few of the consumables, rather the different ones in the 3rd or 4th slot there that you can choose from. So yeah, if you guys want to watch all of that, enjoy. If not, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to put up. I had like a mid Rhode Island game, which honestly, out of all the ships, I think I had the most fun in that one, despite it not being like insane like I thought it was going to be as we go over the specs here. And on top of that, I'm going to release a code, which is for one of the Mystic crates. So if you were the first one to type it in, good luck to you, sir, or congratulations, rather. And I will be giving away more of those tonight on stream, as well as sprinkled throughout different videos. So make sure you like, make sure you comment, and when we are doing the giveaways on stream, you have to be on Discord. If you're not, you won't get the code. I'm sorry. So tune in tonight for more of these codes for Mystic Crates, which can give you a chance to get these ships. So like I said, love you guys. We're finishing up the stats here. See you guys in the next one. Aaron out. Peace.